Welcome back to political science class. And today we want to start with the international organization called the United Nations organizations and some special features of international organization called the United Nations organization. Okay, so just back to the textbook. You can see here page number 89. Okay, so today we'll start with the World Bank. World Bank. Okay, so it's a important organization controlling by United Nations. The World Bank was created immediately after the Second World War in the year 1945. I already told you that. We already discussed, I think, once I read it in the classroom. Okay. It works for human development, basically education and health, agriculture and rural development, irrigation and other rural services. And it is basically giving importance for environmental protection, okay, reduction of pollution, establishing and enforcing regulations, and infrastructural development like the development of roads, urban regeneration, electricity, and governance, like anti-corruption, development, and legal institutions. It provides loans and grants to the members countries. In this way, it exercises enormous influence on the economic policies of developing countries. It is often criticized for setting the economic agenda of the poorer nations. So, this World Bank basically helping number of developing countries. Okay, because those countries need much financial support. Financial support. So, World Bank is ready to provide them financial aid. So, most of these developing countries' agenda or their budget is closely related with the World Bank and its policies. It is often criticized for setting the economic agenda for the poorer nations, attaching stringent conditions to its loans and forcing free market reforms. Okay, at the same time, the World Bank, so critics says that the World Bank is giving loan to the developing countries, but basically creating a problem for these developing countries. Basically, this World Bank is forcing them to sign in a what do you can say, trade treaty, okay, or trade agreements. Okay, just keep that idea in your mind. So World Bank is a important question for the examination. Okay, so next one, jurisdiction of the United Nations. That's page number 91. Jurisdiction of the United Nations. That's what our next topic. Okay. The question of membership is a serious one. In addition, though, there are more substantial issues before the world. As the United Nations completed 60 years of its existence, the heads of all the member states met in September 2005 to celebrate the anniversary and to review the situation. The leaders in its meeting decided that following steps should be taken to make the UN more relevant in the changing context. Okay, so we know that United Nations that formed in the year 1945, it is almost 60 years completed in the year 2005. Okay, so almost all the heads of different countries, they met and they decided some changes are necessary in the functioning of United Nations related with the relevant or contemporary changes in the world or situations in the world. Okay, next one you can see here. What are those changes mentioned? Okay, creation of a peace building commission. Okay, what is that? Creation of a peace building commission. Okay, so United Nations want to interfere in various affairs between the countries or various troubles between the countries to create peace. Okay, clear or not? Next one, acceptance of responsibility of the international community in case of failures of national governments to protect their own citizens from atrocities. In the case of civil wars or problems within one country or one government is become a failure to protect its citizens, okay, or one government is unable to protect its citizens, it is the responsibility of the United Nations organization to protect the people in such kind of in that kind of countries there. Okay, so just keep that idea in your mind. So one government is a failed one or a failure, it is unable to protect its own people, so United Nations wanted to have the people in those countries there. Okay, next one, establishment of Human Rights Council operational since 19 June 2016. 2006 establishment of a human right council. Okay, so each and every individual have the right. What is that? The human right. We are free to enjoy the human right there. Okay, so there is a human right council is there under the United Nations to protect the human right for each and every individual who lives in the country or different countries there, basically in the world. Okay, next one, agreements to achieve the Millennium Development Goals. So there are a number of development goals are there for the United Nations. Okay, in this millennium or in this century, number of development goals are there. Okay, so created lots of agreements. Okay, to achieve these developmental goals. Okay, next one, condemnation of terrorism in all forms and manifestations. Okay, so United Nations organization. Okay, basically it's an organization to maintain peace in the international level. We know that. So it is very important to fight against terrorism. Fight against terrorism. So UN is giving more importance for fight against terrorism or eradicate terrorism from the world. Okay. Next one, creation of a democracy fund. So basically this organization giving more support for democratic kind of governments. Okay, so it is standing for such kind of government or helping such kind of governments there. An agreement to wind up the trusteeship council. So we know that it was a council earlier, it was existed in the United Nations, but today there is no such a council is existing in the United Nations organizations. That's what trusteeship council. We will discuss that again. Okay, it is not hard to see that these are equally continuous issues for the United Nations. What should a peace building commission do? Okay, so the question is, what should a peace building commission do? Okay, here there are any member of conflicts all over the world, which one should be intervened in. So a peace building commission is nothing but a commission that basically giving importance for maintaining peace or solving the issues between the countries. Okay, or any wars are there going on or continuing in one particular region. It is the responsibility of United Nations to take some special steps to stop that wars or such kind of wars there. Okay, it is possible or even desirable for it to intervene in each and every conflict. Okay, so it is recommending that almost all the countries recommending that it is important, but that United Nations want to intervene in the issues, in such kind of issues there. Okay, but we already know that there are some limitations too. Okay, United Nations is unable to solve all the problems in the world there, but up to an extent it is able to reduce the problems. Okay, similarly, you can see here, what is the responsibility of an international community in dealing with atrocities? Okay, so different countries, there are different types of atrocities are there, maybe by the government or by the group of people, those living in that region, I mean the majority. Okay, so there are some limitations are there for the United Nations. What are human rights and who should determine the level of human rights violation and the course of action to take taken why taken when they are violated? So next question, what is this human rights? What is considering as human right violation? Okay, so what kind of or what steps wanted to take to protect the human rights? Such kind of questions also existing, so that also coming under the jurisdiction of the United Nations organizations there. Okay, given that so many countries are still part of the developing world, how realistic is it for the United Nations to achieve an ambitious set of goals such as those listed in the Millennium Development Goals? Next question. So we already studied that UN is always trying to achieve these Millennium Goals. Millennium Goals. Okay, but today we know that there are numerous countries in the world. Still, those countries are termed as developing countries. Developing countries. Okay, they are not developed and their economies are not that much sufficient or self-sufficient. Okay, so some question is existing here there. At what extent the United Nations is able to achieve these goals there. Okay, so that is a plan of the United Nations to achieve the Millennium goals there, which means to achieve some development goals. Development goals there, it is helpful for the development of almost all the countries there. Okay, so next question: can there be agreement on the definition of terrorism? Next one: what is this terrorism? Okay, clear. Can there be agreement on a definition of terrorism? So we know that one country might face lots of problem, maybe from the other country or the neighboring country or the groups of people within the country. Clear or not? So number of terrorist groups are there, we know that. What is it, terrorism? They want to pressurize the government by using weapons. Clear? Yes or no? Yes or no? That's what terrorism. Basically, they are pressurizing the government to what do we say? They have number of demands match. Okay, to satisfy those demands, always they will try to pressurize the government using unethical ways. Sometimes you can say that, or weapons. Okay, clear or not? Clear. So they are terrorists. So one country's terrorist may not be the terrorist of the same country. Okay, for example, I can say that Pakistan, right? So number of terrorist infiltrations are there to India. Okay, for Pakistan is the people those who infiltrating to India and threaten Indian government. They are not terrorists. For them, they are heroes. Clear? Clear or not? For Pakistan, the terrorists are heroes for them. For us, for Indians, they are terrorists. Clear or not? Because they are making trouble for the Indian government. And at the same time, they are supporting the Pakistan government and helping the Pakistan government. So for Pakistan, they are the heroes, and for Indians, they are the terrorists. Is that clear? Clear? So it is very difficult to give a definition for the term what terrorism. Clear? That's another problem. Then there are various issues are there behind to find out who is a terrorist. Okay, so how shall the UN use funds to promote democracy? Okay, or what method the United Nations organization is using to or using funds to improve democracy or promoting democracy all over the world, not all over the world. How to promote democracy and so on. So like that, various questions are there. Okay, so it is not easy to give one word answers for these questions there. All right, so United Nations is trying to solve number of issues and trying to improve the condition of the world there, basically, literally speaking. So they're trying to improve the environment of the world. Okay, clear or not? The same time, creating peaceful atmosphere. You can see a caricature here. Therefore, that's in Sudan. The humanitarian crisis in Darfur, Sudan, that's in Africa, since 2003 has attracted empty promises by the international community. How do you think the UN can intervene in the situation like this? Would that require a change in its jurisdiction? Okay, so here you can see Sudan, that country, basically Darfur, that area, they face lots of problems with a number of diseases, various types of diseases, a lack of food, there is no money with the people, there is no job for the people, like that various problems the people faced in Darfur. So international communities, okay, or rich countries, they offered lots of things for that particular country or that region. But what happened? Nothing happened there, basically speaking. So, okay, clear or not? That time we want to inquire what UN is doing or how UN can help. Okay, clear or not? So help is not only just with words. Okay, okay. Help in the sense not with words. Literally want to help them. Okay, or original help is necessary. So you can see here. So only the words may not change, or it can't change any circumstances that existing in a Darfur there. So particular actions are necessary. So we need a organization like a UN there. Okay, but some limitations are there for UN. Okay, so we can say that some changes are necessary for some changes are necessary in the jurisdiction of a United Nations organization. They have to interfere in more activities. Okay, clear or not? Okay, so okay, so notes of this topic, United Nations organizations, is already completed, and you started preparation for what you can say seminars there, right? I only told you that the project, the same topic is there for the seminars there. Okay. Okay, you can take it this week also, or next week onwards, seminars will start there. Okay. So please be prepared for it. Again, I will not give a notice for you people, right? I will not say regular, I will not say tomorrow seminar is there, day after tomorrow seminar is there. There is no such information. Okay. So prepared for that. I will call randomly. Randomly, I'll choose the people to take the semester. So be prepared. Okay, clear. Don't think that alphabetical order. Okay, or roll number wise or something like that. Not like that. Randomly, I will pick. Okay. So everyone, just ready with your you can say presentation. Okay. So next one, World Trade Organization. Okay. Page number 93, World Trade Organization. Okay, the World Trade Organization, WTO, is an international organization which sets the rules for global trade. The organization was set up in the year 1995 as the successor of the General Agreement on Trade and Tariffs, GATT. Okay, GATT, GATT. Created after the Second World War, it has 157 members as on 1st September 2012. What is the data in your textbook? Tell me. The same data?
164.
164? 164 members. Okay. As per?
2016.
2016 month? No months mentioned?
29 July.
Okay. 29 July. Okay, fine. So just observe that data perfectly in your textbook. Okay. So all decisions are taken unanimously, but the major economic powers such as the US, European Union, and the Japan have managed to use the WTO to frame rules of trade to advance their own interests. The developing countries often complain of non-transparent procedures and being pushed around by big powers. Okay, so international organization, WTO, World Trade Organizations. Okay, organization. This also under United Nations organization. There are how many members are there? 164 members as on 2016 July 29, right? Okay, that's what the data in your textbook. Okay, so please observe that clearly. Okay, so what is this World Trade Organization? It is an organization basically maintaining international trade and commerce. Clear? Okay, but there are numerous complaints are against this organization. This organization is basically controlling by United States, European Union, and Japan, it seems. And they are making, or they are forcing other countries or developing countries to follow the rules and regulations that made by them. Okay, clear? And it is not that favorable for these developing countries to achieve development. They are forcing them to accept the policies of liberalization and globalization. Is that clear for you? Okay, that's what World Trade Organization is, an international organization. Okay, now we want to discuss about the India and the UN reforms. There. Okay, India has supported the restructuring of the United Nations on several grounds. It believes that a strengthened and revitalized the UN is desirable in a changing world. India also supports an enhanced role for the United Nations in promoting development and cooperation among states. India believes that development should be central to the UN's agenda, as it is a vital precondition for the maintenance of international peace and security. Okay, so India is a country basically supporting the changes in the United Nations organizations. Okay, so revitalizing. Okay, want to strengthen the United Nations organization. Want to give a new life to United Nations organizations. Okay, so India believes that development should be the central to the United Nations agenda. Development. Okay, United Nations should give more importance for creating a situation for all countries to achieve development. Okay, clear? Okay, that's what India's policy. India's a policy. So India is considering that it is the precondition to maintaining international peace and security. So all the countries, if it is developed, okay, if it is developed, so up to an extent, the country, the United Nations can maintain peace and security. Clear? All countries are developed. Okay, so there is no question of peace and security. Okay, so one of India's major concerns has been the composition of the Security Council. Okay, as we discussed earlier. Okay, so India and the Security Council, which has remained largely static. Static means without any change, Okay, it has remained largely static, while the UN General Assembly membership has expanded considerably. Okay, so the membership is increasing in the UN General Assembly, but in the Security Council, its membership, it is static. Okay, it is not changing. Clear? So how many permanent members are there in the United Nations Security Council in India? How many permanent
5,
members are there? 5 permanent members are there. How many non-permanent members are there?
10,
10. Okay, correct. Okay, India considers that this has harmed the representative character of the Security Council. It also argues that an expanded council with more representation will enjoy greater support in the world community. So, India arguing that want to give more support or more chances for a number of other countries too. Okay, clear or not? Number of other countries also want to be a part of the Security Council. That is the attitude of India. Okay, clear. So as per the idea, India says that it will create a greater support in the world community. Okay, so every country will get a chance to become a member in the Security Council, and they can enjoy greater support in the world community. So next one, we should keep in mind that the membership of the UN Security Council was expanded from 11 to 15 in 1965. But there was no change in the number of the permanent members. Since then, the size of the council has remained stationary. The fact remains that the overwhelming majority of the UN General Assembly members now are developing countries. Therefore, India argues that they should also have a role in shaping the decisions in the Security Council which affect them. Okay, so members in the General Assembly, it is increasing, but the members in the Security Council, it is stagnant, it is static, and there is no change. Okay, the 5 permanent members are there. Okay, so giving more chances to other countries to be a part of this council, I mean the Security Council, that will create faith on the United Nations organization. Okay, all the countries will extend greater faith on or loyalty on a United Nations organization. So it is important. Okay, increasing the number, the Security Council is important. Next one, India supports an increase in the number of both permanent and non-permanent members. Its representatives has argued that the activities of the Security Council have greatly expanded in the past few years. The success of the Security Council's actions depends upon the political support of the international community. Any plan for restructuring the Security Council should therefore be broad-based. For example, the Security Council should have more developing countries in it. Okay, so almost all the countries today very much attracted to the United Nations Security Council and the decision that taken by the Security Council. So each and every country is wished to be a part of the Security Council. Okay, clear or not? Okay, so if you're giving chance for more developing countries in the Security Council, definitely the United Nations importance will increase. Okay, not surprisingly, India itself also wishes to be a permanent member in the restructured United Nations. India is the second most populous country in the world, comprising almost 1/5 of the world population. Moreover, India is also the world's largest democracy. India has participated in virtually all the initiatives of the United Nations. Its role in the United Nations peacekeeping efforts is a large and a substantial one. So India also wants to be a part of the Security Council. Maybe India want to be a permanent member in the Security Council. Okay, clear. So you can say that India is a country with a huge population and is the largest democracy in the world, and it is actively participating in almost all the activities of the United Nations. Okay, United Nations. Okay, the country's economic emergence on the world stage is another factor that perhaps justifies India's claim to the permanent seat in the Security Council. So India is the fourth largest developing economy in the world. Okay, so the economy of our country also developing, and it's a huge one. All these factors are helpful for India to be a permanent member in the Security Council. India has also made a regular financial contribution to the United Nations and never flattered on its payments. Okay, so regularly India paying huge sums to United Nations budget. Okay, or United Nations funds there. Clear? And then not stopped or not created any problem for that contribution. India is aware that permanent membership of the Security Council also has symbolic importance. It signifies a country's growing importance in the world affairs. Next one, if a country become a member of the Security Council, which means that country has some importance in the international order, a kind of what you can say, prestigious position it is. Clear? That's what India trying to achieve that one. It signifies a country's growing importance in the world affairs. This greater status in the advantage to a country in the conduct of its foreign policy. The reputation of for being powerful makes you more influential. So the reputation of the country will increase and the country will become more influential. We know that veto power. So almost all the members in the Security Council, basically the permanent members, they are using, okay, or they have the power. What is that? The veto power, the veto power. So almost all the countries are expecting to be a permanent member in the United Nations Security Council. Okay, despite India's wish to be a permanent veto-winding member in the UN, some countries question its inclusion. Neighboring Pakistan, which India has troubled relations, is not the only country that is reluctant to see India become a permanent veto member to the Security Council. Some countries, for instance, are concerned about India's nuclear weapons capabilities. Others think that its difficulties with Pakistan would make India ineffective as a permanent member. Okay, so India is trying to become the permanent member, but some countries are against India's permanent membership. They say that India's problem with Pakistan. Okay, every time there is a problem. Okay, clear or not? So India is unable to escape from that problem with Pakistan, the border issue, the issue on Kashmir. So such kind of issues are still existing. Okay, and at the same time, India is a country with nuclear capabilities. India is a nuclear country. Nuclear country. So this made India away from that position. Or some countries are creating problem for India due to these problems. Okay. Yet others feel that if India is included, then other emerging powers will have to be accommodated, such as Brazil, Germany, Japan, perhaps even South Africa, whom they oppose. Clear or not? Okay, so this is that if India is included in that, want to give important or want to include these countries also. What are those countries like Brazil, Germany, Japan? and South Africa. Okay. There are those who feel that Africa and South America must be represented in any expansion of the permanent membership, since those are the only continents not to have representation in the present structure. Okay, so country, South Africa and Africa and South America. Okay, countries from these continents should be included in the Security Council because there is no representation, it seems there. Okay, given this concern, it may not be very easy for India or anyone else to become a permanent member for the UN in its near future. So we can say that it is very difficult for India or any other country to become a permanent member in the Security Council because of various issues are there. Clear? It is not that easy. Okay, so this portion also important for the examination. India and the United Nations reforms. Okay, so here basically we are giving importance for how India is trying to become a permanent member in the Security Council of United Nations. Okay, clear. And what are the opposing arguments? Opposing arguments in against India's accommodation. India's accommodation in the permanent membership or providing permanent membership for India. Hope these ideas are clear for you people, right? Yes or no? So please read the notes and the text also. Okay. You can see one more thing here. IAEA. IAEA. The International Atomic Energy Agency. Okay. Was established in 1957. It came into being to implement US President Dwight Eisenhower's Atoms for Peace proposal. It seeks to promote the peaceful use of nuclear energy and to prevent its use of military purpose. IAEA teams regularly inspect IAEA teams regularly inspect the nuclear facilities all over the world to ensure that civilian reactors are not being used for a military purpose. Okay, so it's Dwight Eisenhower's idea. What is that? Atoms for peace. Atoms for a peace there. So as per this idea, this organization, IAEA teams, they will observe, they will check almost all the nuclear reactors, civilian reactors, and they will make sure that these civilian reactors are not being used for military purposes. Clear? They're clear? Okay, yes. Okay, so it's time to wind up the session then. We will meet in the next class. Okay, so thank you.